than what they're getting right now.
Ryan Noble's Courtney Kuby, thank you very much. And joining me now from Capitol Hill is Democratic Senator from Delaware, Chris Coons. He's also a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thank you very much for joining us. I know this was a classified briefing. I wonder if there's anything from it that you can share with us today.
Well, Katie, I think it's important we take a step back and put this in broader context. Observation balloons were cutting-edge military technology about 150 years ago. They were important in the Civil War. But because our air defense systems were designed and built to detect and intercept jet fighters, bombers, and missiles, we don't have our radars and our intercept capabilities currently finely tuned to detect and intercept balloons floating over the United States. I do think our president and the administration has been transparent. The briefing we got today was constructive and helpful. Tomorrow, there's another follow-on briefing that's going to more narrowly focus on China's spy programs and, in particular, their use of balloons to spy globally. And I do think this is an important moment for us to reflect on what we want from our administration and our national defense. There's been a lot of focus on the Chinese spy balloon and several other unidentified objects recently shot down over the Yukon and the Arctic. But in the meanwhile, a critical war continues to grind along in Europe, where Ukraine is facing a spring offensive from Russia. I think that also deserves our priority and our focus, and a bipartisan group of senators is going to a security conference in Munich next week to engage in that conversation, Katie.
Let's talk about the objects first for a second. I want to get into everything you're discussing, but I do want to talk about these objects because I'm wondering about threats to civilian airspace, threats to commercial airliners. Part of the reason why these objects were shot down over the weekend was because the United States found that they were a threat. They were hovering at an altitude or floating at an altitude or whatever that could pose a threat to commercial jetliners. We've only started seeing these because we've adjusted our radars to be more sensitive. So that begs the question, that raises the question, have we been dealing with threats to civilian airliners that we have not been aware of up until now?
So, Katie, there are lots of objects that float in and out of FAA-regulated commercial airspace. I do think this is going to bring renewed focus to whether or not we're doing enough to clear out and to defend that airspace. But I'll remind you, the only one of these items that was deemed a national security threat was the very large Chinese spy balloon that was operating far above commercial airspace. These other items were taken down in an abundance of caution. I do think this is a constructive conversation for us to have. And I think it's important for the average American to realize that there are dozens and dozens of such items or objects that are in our airspace year in and year out. And if one of the decisions that comes out of this is to invest more in detecting and intercepting random weather balloons and things like that, that might be a good outcome here as well.
Should there be a new regulation or a new law that says you can't just send anything up into our airspace? Or is it because right now, is it a free-for-all? Can you just send anything up there if you want to do weather research or some other type of research, if you are a commercial venture, or if you're affiliated with a university or a researcher?
My impression is that we can and should do more to regulate things that are in commercial airspace, but that the FAA does require that you have a transponder, that you have lights, that you be detectable, and there are limitations on operations within commercial airspace, whether it's by drone, by weather balloon, for other commercial purposes. I'm not on the relevant committee. This isn't what Foreign Relations deals with, but we are going to have to reauthorize the FAA this year, and this will be an appropriate area for congressional engagement and action. In the meantime, Katie, we face critical threats from China. There will be another classified briefing tomorrow on China's spy programs, which overwhelmingly are conducted by satellite. And I hope we'll come up with a constructive bipartisan path forward. I think the president's strongest chapter in his leadership on national security so far has been in pulling together NATO and dozens of countries around the world to stand up to Russia's aggression. As Russia begins its spring offensive in Ukraine, they're going to need our support more than ever. And I look forward to a bipartisan effort this coming week to make sure that Ukraine has the resources they need to secure their offensive, their counteroffensive against the Russians this spring.
You were on foreign relations. Are we in a crisis with China right now?
This is a distinct cold spot in our relations. We are already in a moment of real tension over Chinese actions throughout the region, in the South China Sea and elsewhere. Obviously, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken canceled his trip to China because the Chinese intentionally flew a spy balloon over the continental United States. I think this heightens one area where we need to find ways to work more closely with the Chinese. We have no communications channels, as we did with the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War, to make sure we don't misunderstand each other if there is a collision or an incident. This is a real challenge to U.S.-China relations, and I think the Chinese need to come clean with the world and be open, transparent about the spy program they have been carrying out against dozens of other countries. We're now sharing that intelligence, that data, with other countries, with allies and countries that have been surveilled by the Chinese. And I think they have a lot of accounting to do for their conduct with these spy balloons over recent years.
You touched on the crisis line. I'm going to ask John Kirby about that of the National Security Council in just a few minutes when he joins us. In the meantime, Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Katy.
And as I said, John Kirby will join us in just a few minutes. We have all of those questions I just asked the senator and more. He will join us from the White House in just a few minutes, as I said. Plus, Donald Trump gets a new presidential challenger. The nice things he said about his first official GOP opponent. Yes, nice things. But first, it has happened again, not just for the nation, but for individual survivors. I'm going to talk to one student who has now gone through 2 school shootings. 2. The first was Sandy Hook.